What if I told you that some of the creatures you grew up thinking were just myths might actually be real? Not just bedtime stories or fantasy monsters, but beings whispered about for centuries, with eyewitness accounts, strange bones, and unexplainable encounters that make you wonder if the line between myth and reality is thinner than we think. Entire cultures across the globe, with no way to contact each other, somehow told nearly identical stories of giants, monsters, and shadowy figures. Coincidence or proof that something out there has been hiding in plain sight? In this video, we're diving into 7 mythical creatures that might actually exist. We'll explore terrifying accounts, bizarre scientific finds, and real-world mysteries that make these legends harder to dismiss. By the end of this video, you won't just be entertained, you'll be questioning everything you thought you knew about myths. And who knows, maybe the next time you're out at sea, hiking in the mountains, or even just walking home at night, you'll wonder if you're really alone. Thunderbird. Picture this. You're walking outside, glance up, and see a bird so massive it looks like it belongs in the dinosaur age, not in the sky above your house. That's the thunderbird, a legendary creature from Native American folklore, said to have wings so wide they could darken the sun, and a presence powerful enough to shake the ground. For centuries, stories described the thunderbird as a guardian spirit, calling down thunder and lightning with its very movements. But here's the unsettling part. The stories never really stopped. Even in the late 1800s and 1900s, people across North America reported sightings of enormous birds gliding silently overhead. In one of the most famous cases, a family in Illinois claimed in 1977 that a giant bird actually tried to lift their 10-year-old son off the ground before dropping him. And before you roll your eyes, keep this in mind. Prehistoric giants like the Argentavis really did exist, with wingspans stretching over 20 feet. So when people talk about thunderbirds, it's not completely impossible. Maybe we're not dealing with a fantasy. Maybe it's a survivor from a time when the skies were ruled by giants. Now think about it. Most of us get annoyed when pigeons crowd the sidewalk or seagulls swipe a sandwich. Imagine something so big it could swipe you. Suddenly those birds at the park don't seem so scary anymore. Mokelembembembe. Deep in the rivers and swamps of Central Africa, locals have told stories for generations about a creature called the Mokelembembembe, often described as a long-necked, plant-eating beast. It sounds an awful lot like a living sauropod, basically a brontosaurus that somehow survived extinction. Scientists and explorers have been fascinated for decades. Some expeditions returned with nothing but footprints and vague eyewitness accounts, while others claim to have seen the massive shadow of the creature slipping through the waters. Reports describe it as the size of an elephant, with a long, flexible neck and a body powerful enough to crush canoes with ease. What makes the Mokelembembe so intriguing is that it exists in one of the most remote and unexplored regions on Earth. The dense jungles and winding rivers are perfect for hiding a large, elusive creature. And while skeptics dismiss it as folklore, researchers have noted that many eyewitness reports are strikingly consistent across decades and villages. Even stranger, some indigenous stories claim the Mokelembembe isn't aggressive. It avoids humans, feeding quietly in the river. The thought that a dinosaur-like creature could still exist somewhere in the world is thrilling, terrifying, and just strange enough to make you double-check every splash in a swampy river. Chupacabra. The chupacabra is one of Latin America's most infamous mysteries. First reported in Puerto Rico in the mid-1990s, the creature earned its nickname, which literally means goat sucker, because of livestock found mysteriously drained of blood. Eyewitnesses described it as a reptile-like creature covered in spikes with glowing red eyes, fangs sharp enough to pierce through animal hides, and a menacing hunched posture. Over the years, sightings spread across Mexico, Chile, and even parts of the United States. Farmers and locals alike claimed their chickens, goats, and even dogs were found dead overnight with strange puncture wounds, sometimes arranged in bizarre patterns. One of the most chilling accounts came in 2007 when a rancher swore he saw a small, hairless creature stalking his cattle under the moonlight. Scientists largely dismissed the chupacabra as a combination of coyotes with mange or exaggerated folklore, but the consistency of eyewitness reports is hard to ignore. Skeptics may scoff, yet the stories continue, fueling fear in rural communities and fascination among cryptid hunters. What makes the chupacabra terrifying is not just its blood-draining habits, it's the thought that something so elusive, predatory, and fast-moving could be lurking just beyond our sight. The legend refuses to die, and each new sighting reminds us that some mysteries might be closer to reality than we'd like to admit. Bunyip hidden in the murky swamps, billabongs, and rivers of Australia, there is a creature that has terrified generations, the bunyip. Indigenous Australian stories describe it differently depending on who you ask. Some say it has a long, sinuous neck. Others claim it has tusks, webbed feet, or glowing eyes that pierce the darkness. One thing is certain, it is big, dangerous, and mysterious. European settlers in the 1800s were unnerved when they heard these stories. Strange tracks appeared along riverbanks, livestock disappeared without a trace, and eerie unidentifiable cries echoed across the water at night. One report from 1845 tells of a farmer near Geelong who claimed a gigantic water beast dragged a cow into the swamp, leaving only ripples behind. Skeptics said it was exaggeration or misidentified animals, but the consistency of these accounts kept the legend alive. Some scientists suggest the bunyip could be inspired by extinct giant marsupials like the diprotodon or unusually large crocodiles, but no one has ever found a body. Maybe that is the scariest part. It could still be out there, watching, waiting, lurking just beneath the surface. The bunyip is not just a monster in the water. It is a shadow in the back of your mind. You could be walking along a quiet riverbank and hear something stir beneath the surface, and you will wonder, is it just water or is it the bunyip? Wendigo. Some say the Wendigo is born from hunger, isolation, and desperation, a creature that appears when humans are at their weakest, gaunt and towering, with glowing red eyes and claws that can tear through anything faster than any person can react. It moves silently, watching, waiting, calculating. People say it waits for the weak, the tired, the lost. It does not run. It does not chase in the way humans do. It follows, a shadow that can appear behind you, beside you, nowhere at all until you see it. Footprints appear overnight, impossibly large and too deep for any normal animal, sometimes surrounding cabins as if inspecting its prey. In the 1800s, trappers told of hearing frantic howls from all directions, seeing a gaunt figure slip between trees faster than any human could move, and waking to find supplies torn apart as if tested for weaknesses. Locals still warn against wandering alone in winter, saying the creature feeds not just on flesh but on fear. The Wendigo does not need to strike to scare you. It lingers just beyond sight, a frozen shadow, making you question every movement, every noise, every breath. Alone in the forest, even a small sound can feel like it is coming from its mouth. And suddenly, the cold does not feel like cold, it feels like teeth, waiting. Corybites, off the coast of Sicily. Ancient sailors feared the waters near Scylla, but equally terrifying was Corybites, a monstrous whirlpool, said to swallow entire ships. Unlike the beasts that leap from the deep, Corybites wasn't just about teeth or claws. It was a force of nature, a living maelstrom that could appear without warning, dragging everything in its path into the abyss. Homer described it in the Odyssey, warning that navigating its waters was a deadly gamble. But beyond myth, historians and oceanographers point to real whirlpools in the Mediterranean that could have inspired the legend. Tidal currents, underwater cliffs, and sudden storms can create swirling vortices, powerful enough to flip smaller vessels. Could the ancients have witnessed natural phenomena and turned it into a creature story? Very possibly. What makes Charybdis fascinating is how it blends fear, observation, and storytelling. There are no glowing eyes or fangs. Its power is invisible, mechanical, relentless. Sailors learned to respect the sea, not because of a monster, but because of what the sea could do. And Charybdis became a name to give that danger a face. Centuries later, the legend persists. The thought of an unstoppable whirlpool hiding in the ocean is enough to make even the most experienced sailor pause. Jersey Devil. For over 250 years, the Pine Barrens of New Jersey have been home to a creature that has terrified locals for generations. The Jersey Devil, described as a winged, hoofed monster with a goat-like head and glowing red eyes. The creature is said to scream like a banshee and move with unnatural speed through the forests. The legend began in 1735 when a woman known as Mother Leeds supposedly gave birth to her 13th child. According to folklore, the baby transformed into a demon and flew into the woods, where it multiplied and haunted the region ever since. Over the centuries, countless sightings have been reported. Farmers claimed livestock went missing, travelers described shadowy figures swooping overhead, and during the 1909 mass panic, hundreds of residents reported seeing the devil flying through the sky. While skeptics point to misidentified birds, bats, or hoaxes, the consistency of reports across generations is hard to ignore. Even today, hunters, hikers, and locals tell stories of glowing eyes in the woods, eerie screams at night, and strange footprints that vanish without a trace. What makes the Jersey Devil terrifying isn't just its appearance, it's the sense that something is always lurking, always watching. A creature born from legend, fear, and mystery, it has cemented itself as one of America's most enduring and chilling cryptids.